there is an answer, and it's sitting right here in front of me. And I just know that if we can just let it be, if we can just move our hearts to know that we are the answer, then things will come out right. So this morning has been so full of great announcements, from our safety to I want what she has. It's very good. So this is our third week in our Adventures in Faith. And I was really thinking about this topic, letting go to be led. And it sounded ominous, really, because letting go sometimes feels like a big event. And so I found a story, and I want to share it with you. And it expresses sometimes the experience of letting go, hearing the voice of God, and then how we respond to it. So this is a story about a mountain climber, and he was making an ascent in the mountains when night fell, and he couldn't see anything. All was dark, there was no visibility, the moon and the stars were covered by clouds. But he continued climbing, though he was getting disoriented. He was only a few feet away from the mountaintop when suddenly he slipped and fell and started falling at such a rapid speed. He could only see black spots as he went down and felt the pull of gravity. He kept falling and was in great fear. In the fall, he had a life review. All the experiences of his life passed before him, when all of a sudden he felt the rope tied to his waist pull on him. His body was hanging in the air. Only the rope was holding him. And in that moment of stillness, he screamed, "Help me, God." The voice replied, "Do you think I can save you?" "Yes, I really believe you can," he replied. The voice said, "Cut the rope." There was a moment of silence. And then the man decided to hold on to the rope with all his strength. The next day, the rescue team reported a climber's body was found frozen, his body suspended from a rope, and his hands holding tight to it. He was only 1 foot away from the ground. Point of the story, we're only 1 foot away from the ground. I truly, absolutely do believe this. I believe that our consciousness, who we are, and what's happening in the world, we have to trust ourselves and know that we're in a movement. We're moving forward in a way maybe we can't see it. There is, in the darkness, there's still a light. And we have to let that be. But this morning, this story inspired the idea of letting go to be led, because I'm sure I'm probably the only one who has heard this small voice and hung on to the rope. But if not, this will make some sense to you, because letting go to be led really requires something. How many times have we heard something? How many times have we heard the good news of the Bible or our faith tradition, Buddhist, whatever it is, or we don't have a faith, but we heard kindness, our virtue, gentleness. We hear these things, but do we pay attention? Do we incorporate it? Do we make it a practice in our life? So this morning I want to talk about what it requires to trust, to listen deeply and have faith, and to write a new story. So having trust is, we don't know what's ahead. We don't know what's ahead. We wake up every day with faith that things are going to work out. We do. That's why we get up and we start moving. But there are days when we wake up with that feeling that we don't know. There are times in our life, a health crisis, a situation, a relationship, a death, something happens that we didn't expect. And we wake up and we're like, shook. I get shook. I have to re-establish myself in consciousness and a trust and not knowing what's ahead. But that's why our beautiful community always has adventures in faith to boost our faith, because even though we don't know what's ahead, what do we know? We know that God, that infinite presence of good that birthed us, that gave us life, that wants our good, is present where we are. It's present in us, it's present around us, but we have to open to it. We have to let go of the rope of the story that we're not enough. Now, this is a story that I know well, the not enough story, because one of the gifts of religious science to me was the understanding that I was born in original goodness, in original grace. That is one of the biggest story changes that we have to make. Because when I thought I was born in original sin, so to speak, I couldn't trust God because I might be punished for something. In religious science, I learned the punishment comes from my own thinking. I can punish myself by saying I'm not enough, we're not enough, this isn't going to work out, the world is too much. I will say that trusting now in a time of bombings, violence, school shootings, I've had to move my mind, my heart. I don't know what's ahead, but what I do know, I have to go to what I do know. I know that love is always present. God never leaves us, that we cannot be away from God because we were made of God. So that presence lives in us. I share this because if you're ever holding on to a rope, and think of the rope in your own life, the place that you might be holding on, this is the time to let it go. We're in a movement. I truly do believe that consciousness is shifting, that we are trying to be everything that we were meant to be, but we tell the wrong stories. And even when we hear it, we know it. I know when I see something wrong, when someone is unkind, when someone is losing their temper, when someone is beating someone or someone is bombing a city, I know that is against who I am. Do you know that? Do you? You do. Can you say it? Yes. All right. You're not holding on to the rope. That's a good sign. We don't say it out loud. We always, or I can just say for myself, I want to be gentle. I want to make sure everything is good and I'm doing the right thing and all that stuff. But where I have to go to understand that is my own heart. What is it that God's calling me to do right now? What is in it? What do I need to know around my health? What do I need to know around my finances? What do I need to know around my relationships? All of us have issues in our lives that we have to trust that what we know, who we are, will bring us through the ride, truly. And so in our tradition, we not only talk about trusting the divine, but we learn that the divine lives within us, that the limitations that we place on ourselves are not the truth. That's the holding on to the rope. Every time you're up against something and you feel the limitation, every time I'm up against something and I feel the limitation, my hands are raw from holding on to the rope because I start believing. We are a conscious moving community. We move our consciousness. We move our awareness. That's what we do together. Thank you for the Adventures in Faith program going on this long, because it's requiring us to know who we truly are spiritually. Once we know who we are spiritually, we act from that place. But if we don't have that awareness, we hold ourselves back and think we can't trust that voice. We can't trust our own goodness, that we will always work for the highest and best good, and we will always expect the highest and best good. So trusting is the first part of that, and trusting in the goodness of God is very much part of that. Next, it's listening. And every Sunday, we do meditation and we get really quiet. And I just want to say, if you're meditating, or sometimes in my meditation, I'm wanting to hear that still small voice. But what I hear is blah, 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 blah. It's a pain, honestly, because I'm really seeking this, but did I say that, or did this? Did I leave the toaster on? Whatever. There's all kinds of things that are so distracting. Meditation, it's okay to be distracted, because as we hear those voices now, because I've been practicing, I can hear them. There was a time I didn't even know what I thought. I couldn't hear my own voice. I couldn't even figure out what I was thinking because I was so busy thinking. It was just an amazing experience. But by meditating and listening, you'll know when the voice isn't a voice of spirit, when it talks about your not enoughness. You didn't do it right. You're not who you really, these people tell you you are. You know who you really are. Those kinds of voices, they're not the truth of us. We're a consciousness-raising community. We're raising our consciousness, our minds and our hearts to be that very presence of love that we talk about every Sunday. And love is trustworthy. Love will show the way. So we use affirmations, and it's to help us to let go of the rope. When we're hearing something that doesn't speak of possibility, of God's goodness, we have to let it go. This is not the truth of me. Maybe I start singing a song, or I do something. This morning in our meditation, Reverend Sage brought a song in by Ricky Byers, Trust Love. Trust love. Because you know, when I love, I'm not mean when I love. And when I love, I am mean sometimes. But that's a whole other story. Don't say a word, Paul. Zip the lip. I want to be kind all the time. Let me just say it that way. When love is in my heart, I want to be kind all the time. And when I can't be, the trick is appreciation. What's happening in my life that I really can appreciate? What's the goodness that I really have? And just that little switch, whoops, let me move there, will take us to the next level of what we have to do. We're a mighty community. I'm so grateful to be in religious science. I'm so grateful to hear this news. Every faith tradition says it, but we say it in our unique way, in the way that allows us to shift the way we show up in the world. And I'm so grateful to be in this community in the shifting that happens. The music this morning, letting it be. Sometimes if there's something up, and believe me, it's up in the world right now, you can't just dismiss and pretend we don't see what we see. We can't pretend that there isn't craziness going on all over the planet right now. I believe that craziness, all of the disruption is like, it sounds gross, but it's like a pimple. Because if something doesn't come to the head and it gets cleaned out, it stays disrupting. So I believe we're acne-proof, really, in a certain kind of way. But I truly do believe that what's happening in the world is letting us see who we're not. It's allowing us to see who we are not. And in that seeing, we dedicate ourselves to being who we are. We are love, we're kindness, we're gentleness, we're goodness. That is the essence of who we are. So I am so grateful that we're all together in this time. We're all here in a time in history when I believe we're going to make a conscious leap in awakening. And we're starting with ourselves. So as we go into that process and go into an awakening, we have to write a new story. So let me share a story that I think we might know it, but it's good to hear it again. So this is a story called Autobiography in 5 chapters. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There is a hole in the sidewalk. I still don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place. It isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3, I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. It's my fault. I know where I am. I get out immediately. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5, I walk down a new street. So I just want to close with it's time for us to walk down a new street. It's time for us to cut the rope. It's time for us to be the conscious presence of God on this planet, helping us evolve and being everything we are called to be. Love, peace, goodness, grace, kindness, abundance, health, wholeness. Change our thinking, change our life. Thank you so much for letting me share.